Hello, my loves. Welcome or welcome back to Chemistry with Kismet Tarot. I'm Monica, the Kismet Chemist. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Welcome to the family. It is such an honor to have you here. If you are returning, welcome back. I've missed you, my loves. Actually, I've missed all of you guys. I've missed the new people and the seasoned veterans of Chemistry with Kismet Tarot. I've missed all of you guys. So I want to open up with saying thank you. And I say, of course, because those of you who know me, you know how much gratitude I have for you guys. It just is overflowing. It really is. So I want to start with saying thank you. Thank you because when I tested positive for that fun little virus, I had survived like 3 years and exposure to every variant and never once got sick. And I kept getting this message from my guides about this promise of immunity to it. And so when I tested positive, I kind of got up in my own head, like, why would I be immune to all the other variants and not this one? What is it that's different here? And I realized that what was different was not the situation. It wasn't the virus. It was literally me. I was different. What I needed to understand was that not everything is a curse. Not everything is a hardship. Not everything is a punishment. And for so much of my life, I've operated in that way. I've operated in the way of, if something changes, then did I do something wrong? What did I do wrong? How could I have changed it? How can I change it back? Things like that. I went through this deep, deep healing in 2020, and it lasted 2.5 years or so. I mean, it wasn't until towards the end of 2022, beginning of 2023, that I really started having more symptoms and having more issues with my physical health, which impacted my mental health and my emotional health. And it was this kind of tumble down effect because I kept thinking, well, did I do something wrong? Am I operating the wrong way? Maybe I'm eating the wrong thing. And maybe I am not meditating enough. Maybe I'm not doing this enough. And I just kept going around in my mind about all the different things that I should be doing better, that I wasn't doing better, and really beating myself up. And we can be our own worst enemy in life. We really can. We can hurt ourselves far more than anyone else out in the world could ever hurt us, because we know our own weaknesses better than anyone else, even when it doesn't seem that way. We really do. We know our own weaknesses, and oftentimes we know our weaknesses better than we know our strengths. And so when I got diagnosed, or rather when I tested positive, I was really stuck up in my head until I realized, as I surrendered to just resting, giving myself a break, letting myself take it easy, letting myself just not continue to try to do everything and please everyone and be there for everything going on, and rather be there for myself, show up for myself, and give to myself what it is that I was really needing, that I realized it wasn't a curse or a hardship at all. It was literally a blessing, and not even in disguise. It was literally just a blessing, because I got to take a break and get extra sleep. And I got to really appreciate what kind of body I have that will fight back, that will keep going, that will keep living without me having to try and find all sorts of different things outside of myself. And then I also allowed myself the time to just sit and write. And guys, like all I did was journal pretty much for a week and a half. I just sat and journaled like 60 pages longhand. And it was one of those like super awesome things where I'm like, oh my God, I haven't journaled this much in forever. And I was able to see how many times and ways that I would beat up on myself and really diminish myself and not give myself any amount of proper credit for all of the things that I went through and all of the things that I continue to go through, but the strength that I have within myself. And this time I allowed myself to see a lot of it, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. I just let myself see it, recognize it, and move beyond it. So it's been a long journey, and it doesn't mean that I'm 100%. I don't know when I will be. And that's okay with me now. I'm at peace with that. What I'm grateful for at this point is all of you for your patience, for the love, for the healing that you guys have sent. I am grateful for the opportunity to live my life in the ways that I'm truly blessed to live it. You know, as a stay-at-home mom with a husband who works really hard to provide for us, but also with the ability to sit here and to create content that helps people, that uplifts people. No expectation, no hesitation anymore. And just be able to do that without trying to qualify, quantify, monetize, all of those different things where you can get stuck in that entrepreneurial rat race. I don't feel that anymore. I just am very grateful that I have this beautiful blessing of a life that I have. And I want to help others to feel that gratitude for their own lives, their journeys themselves, to believe in yourself, to believe in your path, to believe in your purpose, to believe that you are loved and seen and heard. And that is really, that's the longest way that I have taken lately in saying thank you. For all of you, thank you. So this reading, we are getting messages from the masters. One of my Christmas gifts this year from my husband was the Hay House Deck Club subscription box. So every few months I get a box with different cards, which is awesome. Awesome. Great deal. And I'm super happy for it. But one of the decks that came in the November box was the Divine Masters Oracle. And I am in love with these cards. I am so in love with these cards. They're so beautiful, powerful. And they were like, nope, this is what we're going to do, which actually changed my entire scheduling around for this topic, this message to be brought forth. So we were getting messages from the masters. And for the first time in forever, I have a 5-pile reading. Each pile has a different set of masters or master that are coming forth to bring messages. So you may have messages in one or multiple piles. Feel free to choose as you feel called. These are timeless readings. And each one of the masters has a set area they want to focus on. And that is represented by the Elder Futhark runes. So pile 1, we have the Lemurians, and it says clairvoyance activated. And your rune is Isa or ice. Pile 2, we have Lady Portia or overcoming limitations. And we have the rune Fehu or wealth. Pile 3, we have the masters of Michael and Faith with spiritual calling, and the rune Tewaz or warrior. Pile 4, we have the master Ishtar with inner learnings, and the rune of Nothes or need. And pile 5, we have the master Guru Ramdas with miraculous moment, and the rune Perth or initiation. So I'm going to go ahead and put on some meditation music. Allow yourselves to be guided, to be led to the piles or pile, which is right for you. The timestamps will be in the description box below, and I will see you all at your piles.
Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118
pile 1. If you chose the first card and rune, the card the Lemurians with clairvoyance activated and the rune of Isa or ice, this is your message from the masters. So I know I did the reading breakdown. Sorry, guys. I know I did the reading breakdown right before we went into the meditation, but I did want to just go over what these core cards are, and then we'll go ahead and dive into the reading. So these core cards are the masters that are actually reaching out to you. So this is an interesting feeling here because oftentimes we can come to readings and there are cards to choose from. And in readings such as this, each of the piles has a different divine master or masters. We can feel like we're the ones doing the reaching out. But the way that energy works is these masters have come forth, brought through messages, and they have sent a sort of receptive energy out for the people that the reading is meant for. So while it feels like we are choosing them, the same in reverse is also true. So they are also choosing you. And I felt like that was really important to talk about with this pile in particular, because there's this energy of why would the Lemurians be reaching out to me? Like, I've always resonated with them, but why would that set of masters reach out to me? And it's because you have a resonance with them. The way that the spiritual realm works is when we find a resonance with something, oftentimes the human mind gets in the way. We try to explain it away by this or that. This is interesting to me, so I find resonance in it. But really, there's a soul deep connection between them. If you have that kind of soul deep connection with beings such as the Lemurians, that doesn't mean that you don't have that with the Atlanteans from Atlantis. Those two collectives are often so intertwined that it can feel like having to choose one or the other. But we live many, many existences, many lives, at least based off of my personal truth. We live many lives in many places and many times. And oftentimes we are living all of those simultaneously. So that doesn't have to be your truth either. I want to make sure that I am allowing for the recognition that my truth doesn't have to be your truth. I am here as the conduit of the messages, and I'm sharing my truth to help give a different perspective. It doesn't have to be what you accept. This energy here, this energy feels kind of tight. And I don't mean it in a bad way. It doesn't feel like anxiety. It doesn't feel like panic. It doesn't feel like fear. It's kind of like hesitancy, which leads me into talking about the message from the Lemurians. So the Lemurians card, it talks about your psychic awareness, your sensitivity, trusting your intuition. That's a really important thing when we are connecting with different energies. Now with the Isa rune, it represents the word ice, being frozen. And I did channel a message for you guys, so I'm going to read that and then we're going to get further into the message. We can feel as though our gifts, our path, and even more painfully so, our love is frozen, as though some moment long since past has held us in place, cold, unmoving, and icy to touch. The Lemurians were all masters, sacrificing the singular I to witness the interconnectedness of the all. This action was not meant to negate that which was unique to each individual. It was meant as the next true step forward for humanity. The conscious awareness that individuation within the unique self is to connect fully to the greater all, bringing forth utter equality of worth and value. Just as we may witness moments which freeze parts of ourselves within the times that they transpire, so too may we witness a thawing through connection. One of the hardest things to hold is the awareness of true dichotomy. We call it dualism or polarities, which are all the same. They are all holding of extremes within a common middle ground. The Lemurians held greater wisdom and awareness than humanity currently has achieved. And in this, they held the awareness of how their greatest strengths led directly to their downfall. When our minds, our hearts, and bodies come together in the oneness of unconditional love, it is then we thaw from the winters of division and separation. Wisdom means nothing if love is not the ultimate truth. This is how to thaw that which has eluded integration, pile 1. When I sit down and channel these messages, they come through in such profound ways that I often find myself forgetting the messages until I return back to them. When we go through spiritual awakenings, in the beginning, it can be frightening. It can feel kind of destructive because everything that you once knew, you no longer know. And everything that you're trying to know seems to be outside of your full grasp. And that's because you're changing. Moving into a state of conscious awareness and to the depth and the breadth that you are right now, pile 1, you're moving into a state of conscious awareness of how you embracing your unique self connects you to more. But it doesn't mean that your unique self does not matter. When we talk about these things, even myself, I have been journaling incessantly lately. And even last night, I was calling myself out in my journaling about how I find it easier to believe negativity within myself and a harder time with believing in the positivity. And that is one of those core wounds that I carry of realizing that if I hold the truth that we are all dichotomous in nature, we are all capable of holding the extremes of things and standing in the middle and experiencing both good and bad, light and dark, happiness, sadness, love, fear. If we can experience all of that and hold all of that within ourselves, then when we end up focusing on one aspect over the other, such as negativity over positivity, our own personal truths serve to help us learn how to heal that. If you've come to this reading and you felt called to the Lemurian pile because you resonate with the stories and the mythology and the history of Lemuria, then so too can't it be true that the Lemurians also resonate with you in your life right now. When we allow ourselves to see these different viewpoints and realize that our perspective is able to be shaped based off of a truth that we contain within ourselves, a truth that can be both light and dark, that can be both good and bad, that can be all of the extremes all at once, then we're able to actually utilize that when we feel frozen, when we feel stuck, when we feel like there's a part of ourselves that is stuck in some past situation. to say, if that part of me is stuck in a past situation, then there must be a part of me that is free of that in the future, which means if I stand in the middle, then I can recognize that if there's a future version of me that is already free of that, then I am capable now of unthawing, of unfreezing, of moving towards that future because both exist simultaneously. This is a lot of being in the realm of soul retrieval. When we go through hard times, I don't like to say that we break a piece of our soul off and leave it in the past. I don't view it that way. It's like we put up partitions of self. We partition ourselves and then we create new on top of the partition. It doesn't mean that that part of us doesn't exist within ourselves. It means that we have separated ourselves from it. And one of the biggest factors of individuation and embracing the unique self is in integration of the pieces that we contain within ourselves. This energy here is asking you to kind of look through different lenses. It doesn't have to be something that you adopt as your truth. It doesn't have to be something that feels exactly accurate. It's just looking through a different lens. It's like going to the eye doctor and you're sitting there and they say, tell me, does option A or option B look better? And sometimes they don't look any different, or there's just a minutia of clarity in A or in B. But when we allow ourselves to view through different lenses, we can see where our perceptions get muddied, where our perspective gets cloudy or hazy or blurry. And then we can see where this different viewpoint or mindset or awareness clears that up. It doesn't change what happens, but you change in the process. When we feel frozen, it can be hard to even start the process of thinking about changing our perspective. And that is what the Lemurians want to help you become aware of, is sometimes it is about allowing for something new to awaken within so that that warmth can come back. So it can come back from within yourself. When we have psychic gifts, and I know this from personal experience, sometimes we see things that we don't want to see. We don't understand why we're seeing it. We don't understand what we're meant to do with it. And we can freeze ourselves in that moment. The decision of what to do with it, how to respond to it, it lies within you 100%. So I want to see some advice on this energy here. We have the Six of Earth. It says gifts of money, time, or effort, new career opportunities, receiving a loan, or paying off debts. I love that it has a fairy, but the coins actually look like lockets. They look like pieces of a locket. So a locket is incomplete if it doesn't have both sides. You have the side that holds the picture, and then you have the part that protects the picture. And you hold that and you carry that within you. Returning to a state of balance within yourself. It involves allowing yourself to see that some things get locked away, but you have the ability to open it up. And when you open it up, you bring back balance into your life. I know this card itself talks a lot about money, material things, but it also talks about time, effort. Have you ever heard the notion, time flies? We get to the end of a calendar year and we find ourselves thinking, wow, man, this year just flew by. Yeah. But when you're in the middle of the year, it can feel like the slowest thing ever. It's about the perception. It's about reaching a specific point in time where certain things become the past. And if we continue to live in it, then we feel like we wake up one day and all of a sudden, where did the time go? There's a lot to be said about living in the present moment, about honoring yourself in the present moment. But I think there isn't enough said about the manner of honoring the self within the present moment also involves looking to the past, envisioning the future, because all of those things exist within the present moment still. This is the advice here is about giving yourself grace, giving back to yourself here. With the Six of Earth, it's the Six of Pentacles. On the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot, it's someone else determining who gets what resources and what funding. And two people are waiting and holding their hands out, and someone else determines it. The Lemurians want you to realize that you contain such grace and wisdom within yourself. They're not here to gift you time or effort or money. They're here to help you realize that those are gifts that you are able to give yourself. And I know that can be a hard thing. It can be a hard thing, especially in the state of the world. It can be a hard thing to be like, well, I can give myself money, then why would I be in debt? I don't have an answer for that one. What I do have for you is I'm getting that same imagery of the eye doctor appointment. What I have for you is this gift that the Lemurians want you to realize exists within you, is thawing within you. It's this gift of being able to see more clearly. And when we see more clearly, we feel more peace within ourselves. So I want to take a look at the dawning awareness, because it feels a lot like as that frozenness melts. And if you think about ice melting, it turns into water, and water is the element of psychic awareness. It's the element of our emotions. It's the element of cleansing, rejuvenation, revitalization, hydrating ourselves. It's one of the most dominant elements, if not the most dominant element in the world. It's so important, but when it freezes, then we can feel like there is no way to cleanse or hydrate ourselves. There's no way to flow. So as the ice melts, you're able to understand flow in a new way. And I want to see how that works. So we have the card Obedience and Fulfillment. When I hear obedience, I think of dogs automatically. I think of dogs, but we have scales here twice. You may have Libra in the 12th house or in the 6th house. You don't have to have those, but those are energies I'm picking up here. When we feel like we have to be obedient to something, we have to pander or subjugate ourselves in order to have that balance. What are you being obedient to? What are you following? Where is your fulfillment? What you're coming into an awareness of is the fact that we can find ourselves engaging in obedience to a past version, to a past belief system, to bring back balance into that. is to realize that our ultimate fulfillment on an individual, unique basis, when we find our own true fulfillment, it is then that we are able to help the all, the collective all, the divine all, to be more fulfilled. Anything that you feel as though you are required, obligated towards, ask yourself why you feel that way. Does this obligation to obedience fulfill you, or does it leave your cup half empty or empty? There are things that we engage in that we don't realize don't fulfill us until we end up empty. And when we end up empty and we have this thing that we believe is going to fulfill us, that's when we can freeze, because it's a blow. It's a hard blow. We get trapped and stuck in a version of ourselves that we don't recognize. Change comes when we allow for it to come. When we put our faith in something that we may not tangibly fully understand. We talk about the Lemurians and the downfall of that people, that society, that way of living as being the individual versus the individuated self, and how they lost sight of the connections. The more we divide, the more we separate, the more we subjugate, and the more that we are obedient to a mentality and an energy that does not care about us. Embracing yourself, embracing your truth, embracing a rebalancing, and recognizing that, again, if you have experienced hardships, then aren't you fully capable and worthy of experiencing the exact opposite, of experiencing blessings, abundance, miracles, breakthroughs, changes, joy? If you are experiencing being frozen, can you also hold within you that you can experience being in flow, being in motion, being free, being warm? These are questions I can't answer for you. They're questions that your answer for them already exists. It's already within you. And that's a hard thing to accept. It's a hard thing to accept. Because where is it? How do I find it? Follow your intuition. You have this divining rod kind of sensitivity that will bring you to where you need to be in order to open up certain avenues or doorways within your mind, within your heart, within your soul. You have the ability to warm yourself back up and to thaw back out. So I want to get this additional insight. And by the way, these cards are amazing. I love them. I love them. Kudos to my husband for the Hay House deck club, because I love these. So first, we have peace, which is card 28. It says connected, journey, balanced, clearing. When we do not have a sense of peace, we can feel untethered, disconnected, vulnerable, and unaware. Personally, my personal truth is vulnerability is a strength. It is not a weakness. It is not a shadow. When we are vulnerable and we are intimate with ourselves and with others, we teach the world that that is a valid, worthy way of connecting, of expressing, and of living our lives. And then we have You're Ready, card 43. It says momentum, validation, encouragement, and prepared. In the shadow, it is stagnation, insecure, unsupported, and unplanned. This is the difference between ice or Isa and allowing for a thought. If you feel ready, where do you need the validation to keep going, the encouragement to keep going? How does ready and prepared translate in your life? One of the things that, okay, I don't always like sharing like really deep, intimate, vulnerable parts of me with the whole of the world, but I do that here on this channel. And I do that when I am called because it's important for me to live my truth. One of the things I struggle with the most is true self-validation. I didn't get a lot of validation when I was a kid. I didn't receive a lot of loving support the way that I would have needed it. But I didn't have the perspective that I have now as an adult, which is I also didn't verbalize what I needed. But because of that, I hung a sense of self on what external validation I received, positive or negative. I am still, to this day, learning how to validate myself, how to tell myself I am worthy, how to tell myself that I am capable, how to tell myself that I am ready to do this or to do that. I am learning how to validate myself. And it doesn't mean that receiving external validation is inherently wrong or bad or diminishes your sense of self-validation. It's about learning that external validation should be the icing on top of the cake of self-validation. The cake is what you create. You put all the ingredients together. You had to go out and get all the ingredients. You had to put it all together. You had to mix it all up. And then you had to wait until it was ready, baked and ready. And then you also had to wait for it to cool off and be ready to be frosted. That is how the external validation should be. It should be that thing that comes afterwards that gives us that little pat on the back of, I was right about myself and my worth and my value. And I feel more at peace the more that I give to myself. I'm not saying that it isn't a challenge or painful. I'm not saying that the journey hasn't been hard. And in no way am I telling you that the shadows don't exist or do exist in over top of the light. What I'm saying is you have the answers and the wisdom and the knowledge and the ability to determine for yourself. And so I will be your cheerleader. I will sit on the sidelines. I will shake my pom-poms, clap my hands loud, and cheer for you as you learn how to validate yourself and how to live in a state of inner peace because you know that you have more connections beyond the parts, the pieces, and the people that have wrought pain in your life. I'm totally here for that and for you, pile one. Pile one. This was really cool. It was not a message I expected to be this way. But I am really deeply honored to have brought it forth. So I want to say thank you so much for being here. I I want to say thank you to your guides, to my guides, to the Great Spirit for facilitating the connections between the energies so that the collective of Pile 1 find their way to this reading in the time that is meant for them. And thank you so much to the Divine Masters of the Lemurians for bringing this wisdom, this truth of theirs, and this connection to the collective of Pile 1. And thank you as well for allowing me to be the conduit, the messenger. Thank you. Pile 1, if this resonated and you guys would like to support my channel or any of my creative projects or anything like that, I would truly appreciate it. Not required, but it's pretty awesome when I receive it. It gives me like warm fuzzies. Some of the ways you can do that are by liking this video, commenting in the comment section below. You can subscribe to my channel, share this video. Other ways that you can do that are going to the links in the description box. There are links to donate to my channel. And there's also a link to my Amazon author page. There are 9 books available on my Amazon author page that I have published over the past couple of years, 3 of which are kind of self-help, self-growth, personal growth, healing journeys, teaching memoirs, and the other ones are planetary retrograde guidebooks for the year of 2022. Yeah, 2022. And yeah, those are all available on Amazon in multiple formats, hardcover, paperback, Kindle, Kindle Unlimited. So feel free to go and check those out. I really appreciate all the support you guys give, even if it's just watching my video. I love connecting with you guys, and I'm just so deeply honored. So with all that being said, Pile 1, I hope you have a beautiful day. I love you guys so much. I will see you at my next reading. Bye. Hello, Pile 2. If you chose the second pile, the pile of Lady Portia with overcoming limitations, as well as the Feihu or Wealth rune, this is your message from the Masters. So the Master that is reaching out to you today is Lady Portia. And as I mentioned before, it says overcoming limitations. Underneath that, it also says karmic release and let go of the need to be right. I'm going to jump directly into the channeled message that I have for you guys first, and then we'll get into the cards. Sometimes the greatest challenge to our own growth is ourselves. We become comfortable living out patterns of events familiar to us and can find our lives beginning to seem like an endless quagmire. Even harder still are the repeated patterns with different circumstances, people, and even sequence of familiar events. Those are situations we may not fully recognize consciously until we stop, scope out the metaphorical terrain, and become aware of the similarities. Our eagerness to leap forward into the quote-unquote new or quote-unquote next can grip our minds as our hearts whisper for patience, dedication, and self-honesty. The concept that what is meant for us will never pass us by exists because of those who have gone through their own patterned quagmire, learning this truth and bearing witness to it in the world. When you hear this concept, do you believe it is the truth of another? Do you believe it to be possible for you? Do you know what your heart is telling you is true? Mindfulness, mindfulness extends beyond meditation, gratitude, and the choices we make on what to eat, watch, read, and listen to in the world. Mindfulness also entails being witness to the repetitious mindsets, thoughts, and emotions we experience on a uniquely individual level, It entails recognition of your truths and how they are impacted and or influenced throughout life. It also entails awareness of the thoughts you have, how they help or impede you living your fullest life. The life you live is where you find wealth, love, and the nourishment which fills your cup of self-love and fulfillment. How you live, how you love, and how you open yourself to your own wealth. It's already within your being. It is you. The concept of karma has been talked about for generations. Sometimes they call it fate, destiny, a preordained path, anything of that nature. Karma is, in essence, a simple cause and effect relationship. And we learned about cause and effect, at least in my childhood. We learned about it in grammar, in my early years in school, a cause and effect relationship. The cause is an action taken, a perception, a perspective, a mindset, a belief, a truth, something that we hold or do. And the effect is how it impacts other people, our lives, our inner world. That is what karma is. It's cause and effect. So we think, well, karma will get you. Karma, when we say karma will get someone, or, karma's a bitch, what we're saying is there is always an effect that ripples out when we take actions against each other, take actions against ourselves. When we're thinking about patterns and karma and repetition in our lives, when we feel like, well, I always get into friendships where I am betrayed, or I am in relationships that are utterly unequal, or my voice doesn't matter. Even just saying my voice doesn't matter, now the effect that you're going to find out in the world is that your voice doesn't matter. It's not heard, because you have already put forth the energy, the ripple effect that this is your belief. Your voice doesn't matter. The effect that has plays out in a multitude of different experiences. One of the hardest things about this energy here with you guys is the message on the card of Lady Portia that says, let go of the need to be right. I'm going to share a little bit about some of the things that my intuition has been leading me into deep dives and hyper-focusing on. Primarily, the gender identity crisis that is primarily occurring in the States, in which the concept of gender is now being opened for descriptors to define. So in essence, it's pronouns, which are descriptions of an individual, are being utilized as a means of defining or identifying a person. And in that, there's so much that is unseen as part of the cause for this effect in the world. As much as I have my own opinions on this, and I don't want to offend anyone. So if this is something that you find offensive, I understand. And no qualms. Go ahead. You can click off. I am a person, a woman, And when people describe me, they say she or her, and that's great. That's fine. Awesome. However, on a biological level, I am also a they because I have 2 lines of DNA. I am 2 complete sets of DNA in one person. I have 2 different blood types. I am both female and male in gender. And because of the shifts in the world, which are truly beneficial, we're actually limiting ourselves more and more and more. And more often than not, when you see 2 people arguing on the sides of this, something like this gender identity crisis, each side believes they are inherently right. And because of that belief, they dig in. Now, if we take it outside of this, when we believe that we're right about something like, my voice doesn't matter, I don't have a place in this world, my life is all about struggle and hardship. When we believe that is right, accurate, true for us, and we cling to that as a rightness, we limit, we block, and we create our own karma. I create my own karma in my life, and I understand that. It's one of the hardest things that I have willingly walked into when I opened up to spirituality was equal amounts of conscious awareness and personal accountability. I can go on the defensive. If I am trauma triggered, I withdraw. I hyper focus. And oftentimes it's hyper focusing on things outside of myself, because sometimes focusing on the things within myself are very, very difficult. Letting go of the need to be right, it does not mean not taking a stand for something that you believe in. It asks you to take pause, to take time to look at what you believe is right for you, and whether you're clinging to something that is outmoded, outdated, and not at all beneficial. Do you cling to money mindsets that don't advance you in life so that you are struggling perpetually with finances? Do you cling to this belief that because you grew up in this way, in this generation, that you have to X, Y, and Z? I'm not here saying that you are right. I am not here saying that you are wrong. I'm here channeling a message from Lady Portia, who wants you to question whether you are clinging to something because it is familiar, because you believe it is right, because of your experiences. What if your experiences were reflecting to you the fault in what you cling to as right? So for me, when I look at things like the gender identity crisis that we are going through with social media and pronouns and all of that, what I see as dissonance between education and awareness, what I see is a lot of people who feel unsafe to embrace how they were born, who they were born as. I see oftentimes a lot of kids, and I wonder if their parents hear them. I see a lot of fear a lot of fear manifesting in a multitude of ways. And I am not saying that any of these perspectives on pronouns or gender dysphoria or anything like that, I am not taking a stand one side or the other on it. What I am saying is when I look at these things, and even though I have my opinions and my experiences and my education on it, I wonder about the love in those people's lives. When we feel like all we need in the world is money in the bank and food on the table, we get stuck in that same quagmire, that same pattern. When we go through these things and we believe that we are right and that, well, because I've experienced it so many times, it is informing what is true to me, it becomes very, very difficult to shift that truth. And so we feed lack within ourselves. I'm not worthy. I'm not heard. I don't matter. I have to be someone else in order to be heard and seen and matter. I have to find where I fit in. One of the greatest pieces of wealth that we have within ourselves is the ability to find the truth within ourselves, the ability to recognize that external belonging will never fulfill you if you do not believe you belong to yourself. You can pick quite literally any major social media or societal concern or issue and look at it and ask yourself, what can this teach me about me and about where I belong, who I belong to, what I belong to, what I believe in, what I believe is right, what I cling to, and what I am ready to let go of because I'm ready for my life to change. So I want to see the advice on your situation here. We have the Six of Fire, victory. Good news is on its way. Public recognition or awards. This is so beautiful because with this we have fire, which is the spark of heat, of warmth, of nourishment in food. It's the spark of civilization. It's the spark of expression. But it is red in this deck. And I love that because red is often associated with fire, and that's our root. When we move from a sense of safety and security within ourselves, being right no longer matters, being wrong no longer matters, because we move from the safety and security that truth is as fluid as we are, and that we have a wealth of knowledge and wisdom within ourselves. And when you recognize yourself, when you honor yourself, when you believe in yourself, the world honors, recognizes, and believes in you. That is the karmic release that Lady Portia is calling for you to realize. Everything comes back to you. It comes down to you. It's fueled by you. It's brought to life by you. So karma may be perceived as a quote unquote bitch, but karma can also be a grand blessing. Karma can break the cycles and the patterns if we choose to see that we have that within ourselves to break the cycles and the patterns. Let's find out what dawning awareness is coming in. By the way, guys, first of all, I love you guys. Thank you for being here, because this pile, this energy, this message, I understand fully is very, very inherently controversial. And that tells me that you guys understand having something or someone or some belief come at you and having to stand your ground. I also am picking up from your energy that you know that sometimes each and every one of us are our own worst enemy. I feel maturity and awareness and wisdom within this energy that you carry, that you have brought forth onto my channel. And I feel deeply honored and blessed to interact with it. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So we have the card Forbidden and Success. This is curious to me because Forbidden talks about a door that's shut. And I used to feel a lot of fear when I started interacting with a Forbidden card, because I would always feel like Spirit was shutting me out from my desires, shutting me out from my purpose, shutting me out from what I felt in my heart was meant for me. And what I realized over time was that what we perceive to be forbidden is a limitation that we create ourselves. Spirit doesn't limit us. Spirit expands us. And so with this, what is forbidden is what you choose to be forbidden. Therefore, if you choose to hold on to success within yourself, because you have victory and you have success, this awareness that's awakening within you is that your own words and mentalities can lock you out of the experience of these things. I don't matter. My voice doesn't matter. Those concepts create a forbiddenness of what you actually desire, which is being heard, being seen, being honored, being recognized, being celebrated, finding the success that you desire in the world in whatever way you desire it. When you hold on and cling to those things that you believe are right because you've experienced so many times where your voice has gone unheard and your story has been untold, it can feel like that path is forbidden. But things that are actually forbidden are the things that we build within ourselves as a blockage, as a limitation, as something that it's a defense mechanism. Oh, okay. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Lady Portia. It's a defense mechanism. If you go in with the mindset that I'm going to do this and I'm going to be heard and I'm going to matter, but internally you're telling yourself, my voice doesn't matter, nobody hears me, nobody cares, that nobody hears me and nobody cares is a defense mechanism because it's what you're familiar with. It's what you're used to. That's the quagmire. This energy here is telling you that you're at a point right now in your journey, in your life, in which you have the ability to flip that on its head. You have the ability to change the perception of forbidden to be based off of what you desire rather than what you fear. That's why she came forth with that message of stop, pause, look around, check out the metaphorical terrain. Sorry if you guys could hear the dog barking. Someone's walking by. Because when we give ourselves that opportunity to hold back and to look, we can recognize the patterns easier, because the patterns that we go through in our lives, they come in different ways, in different forms, through different people and different experiences. Everything gets shifted, it gets changed. Not a lot, but just enough for us to believe that we have broken some sort of cycle, even though we're still in it. Because to break a cycle, it will never, in my truth, in my experience, breaking a cycle will never involve anyone outside of the self. To break a cycle, we have to break what is within us, giving that cycle the means, or it's like a cart on wheels. If you want the cart to stop, take the wheels off of it. Now the cart is still. Now you can look at it and you can see it much, much clearer. When you are drawing, you do still art, because action art is very difficult, because you have to catch the different shades and shadows and highlights and all of these things. And I'm talking out of pure channeling here, because I don't draw very often and very rudimentary. Like, I literally have stick figure drawings for the most part. But I do know that the concept of drawing in something that is still, even if you were to take a picture of something in action, that picture would still be still, capturing action in the moment. When we are doing something like creating from stillness, we are better able to see all of the different variations, the perceived flaws, the highlights, everything. But first, we have to get the cart off the wheels, or get the wheels off the cart. And that depends on how you view it. Is the cart stuck on the wheels, or has it just been placed on the wheels? And if the cart has been placed on the wheels and the cart is the cycle, then removing the cart from the wheels means that you can create a new cart, or a new cycle, a new experience, a new belief, a new truth, a new success, a new endeavor. And you can put that on the wheels and continue moving forward. But if we're creating without understanding what came before, if we do not know where our own internal limitations come into play, then our internal limitations become external limitations. Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay. Pile 2. This is so unbelievably deep. I am here for it. I love it. I love messages like this, because it makes me sit and go, wow. And my ADHD, neurodivergent, hyper-focus, rabbit hole brain is like, oh, I can't wait to journal on this. Seriously. Because I love it. Which tells me you guys are just really amazing, incredible people. Let's get some additional insight for you guys moving forward. So we have Michael, Archangel Michael, with color blue. It says, wise, honest, trustworthy, observant. Oh my God. I swear I don't look at this ahead of time. And in the reverse, oh my God, fearful, disappointment, guarded, self-doubting. These are the things within that cycle. Each and every one of those things is contained within yourself. And blue is the color of the throat chakra. I'm floored right now. Oh my gosh. Okay. And then we have your ready. It says momentum, validation, encouragement, prepared. Oh my God. Okay. Sorry, guys. Wow. Okay. In the reverse, it is stagnation, insecure, unsupported, and unplanned. Look at this picture. He is taking the training wheels off. He is removing the wheels. He's removing the wheels. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, pile 2, moving forward, this is saying when you observe, when you witness, when you recognize the parts that you are afraid of, the parts that have you guarded or self-doubting, the parts that create your limitations, they create your internal obstacles and boundaries. When you recognize those and you get honest with yourself, and you really commit to yourself in this honesty, that observant nature helps you to create what is next. And even if the cart or the cycle is still meant to be in your life, sometimes we can remove the training wheels. We remove the wheels that slow us down, that are there to teach us, because we have learned now we are ready to be independent. Now we don't need four wheels, we need two. Now we know that we are ready to go. And when you are ready for that, what was forbidden in your perception is now up for question. So what do you believe about yourself and your ability? What do you believe about yourself and your ability? I keep hearing that. It's like echoing in my head. So I wanted to ask it twice, because when you realize how worthy you are, how much your voice matters, how much you matter, how much your story matters, how much that is your victory. It is your success in having that story, just in having it and sharing with it, or sharing it with the world, is where that public recognition comes in. It's where you find that momentum to keep moving forward, because you know that you have been prepared to excel, to succeed, to thrive in your life. You have been prepared for that through every cycle that has landed you back in that quagmire. And now you don't have to go back if you choose. Okay. Wow. Oh my gosh. Pile 2. This has been incredible, amazing. Oh my gosh. I want to just I want to jump for joy, because I love how this energy just, I love you guys. I want to take this time to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you to your guides and my guides and the Great Spirit for facilitating the connection between the collective of Pile 2 as well as me, so that these messages could flow through me, could come forth. Thank you as well to the amazing Lady Portia for being present here today, for bringing these messages forth, for bringing this wisdom forth, this love, this awareness, and this release. Thank you so much. Pile 2, if this resonated and you guys would like to support my channel or any of my creative projects, I would love that. Some of the ways that you can do that are liking this video, commenting in the comment section. You can subscribe to my channel. You can also share this video. There are also links in my description box to donate to my channel, both through Venmo and PayPal. There is also a link to my Amazon author page where all of my published books are. You can find all of the books from that author page. And there are 3 self-help and 6 planetary retrograde guidebooks. They're available in hardcover, paperback, Kindle, and Kindle Unlimited. So feel free to go one or all of those routes, whatever feels right to you. That tickled me because of the let go of the need to be right. So I really appreciate all the love and support you guys give me. And I really am so blessed to read for you. So thank you again. All right, Pile 2, I am going to leave you here. I love you all. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you at my next reading. Bye. Hello, Pile 3. If you chose Michael and Faith with spiritual calling as well as the Tewaz rune, this is your message from the Masters. So Michael and Faith with spiritual calling says divine protection in the breakthrough moment. I do have a channeled message, so I'm going to read that first, and then we'll get further into the message with the cards. Mythology speaks of Archangel Michael as being the warrior who is meant to free humanity from the bounds of evil. The life of a warrior leads to loss if there is no faith in true purpose of its calling. There is a growing sense of imbalance in the world. The energies of divine masculinity and divine femininity are being divided, separated, and mistaken. Too often it seems humanity is pitted against each other in the name of religion, race, identity, gender, sexuality, and the placing of blame for so many things. People call themselves, quote unquote, warriors of, and list a cause they are choosing a side on. We can get entangled in all the world's incitement, feeling motivated to get our voice heard in the foray. But the noble warrior knows when to observe, practice patience, ask the inner questions, and discover a greater calling arising from within. Right now, it may seem that life is pressing in all around you, trying to push your actions into motion in one or possibly many directions. Wait. Pause. Breathe. Witness. Observe. Learn. Grow. Action without faith, it is incomplete. Faith without vision, it is incomplete. Answers come, callings felt, and when you know in your heart, then your next movement begins in wholeness. I was asked to share this, a lesson I have learned along my spiritual journey regarding spirituality and feeling called in life. Spirituality, from my own lessons, is a sort of freedom to explore, to grow, to heal, to share, and to live. It doesn't mean that challenges don't exist. It doesn't mean everything is either right or wrong. What it means is you have limitless tools in your toolbox to build and create in whatever way that means for you. It isn't a state of being nor a place to arrive at. It is a tool for your soul. You determine how your faith and warrior's call uses the tool of spirituality. I had this conversation years ago with my childhood pastor about astrology, crystals, herbalism, reiki healing, the labels that we put on certain things in order to try to understand within the bounds of definition and perception to perspective, all of these tools in the world, gifts that were given, tarot cards, oracle cards, runes. Back then, I was told that engaging in anything that I have a passion for, that I feel called to, was evil. I don't validate that perspective in my own life, though I also have learned not to invalidate someone else's perspective and beliefs. If I don't want mine invalidated, then why should I invalidate someone else's? And I understand that most people are living out of the scope of what they have experienced, what they believe, and what they perceive. There are times where we think of spirituality, of the spiritual journey, as a grand adventure. And there are times where we feel like it is all just a sham. We're running from something, running to something. Now, for you, pile 3, is a time for you to stop running entirely. If you feel like you've been running from something, allow it to catch up. If you're running to something, give yourself a breather. It's not going anywhere. Even though it feels like the faster that we run towards it, the further away it gets. I've been told a lot of times that I'm a spiritual warrior. And for a while there, I allowed that to be part of my persona, part of who I am, because I thought it would help me feel stronger, more capable, ready, stable, strong, independent, worthy, many, many things. And I could keep going, but I just would be repetitive. There were nights, many nights on end in which I would call on Archangel Michael, asking for protection, asking for safety, asking for love, asking for hope, asking for faith, asking for a multitude of things, hoping that maybe his presence could show me. None of that was right. None of that was wrong. But it was only in pausing, it was only in the stillness that I learned that everything around us, everything is a manifestation of spirit. It is a manifestation of the divine creator, of the source of all. And it's all here for us to use. I got pulled into this like spiritual spiral, I would call it, of thoughts where I realized I was thinking and contemplating the idea of the egg. And there's this theory out there that there is really only one person. There's one person, and that's it. And that one person exists in all times, in all ways, in all places, in everything. We exist as all the other people that we interact with. So if we're hurting someone else, we're actually hurting ourselves. And if someone else is hurting us, then they're hurting themselves because they are us. And I struggled with that for a really long time until I realized that there are so many different things at play. There are so many things in this world right now that we don't interact with. I don't interact with a lot of things, but it doesn't change the fact that they exist. And it doesn't change the fact that those things are able to reach other people, people that are different from me, people that grew up differently, grew up in a different place, or what have you. So when we find something that we resonate with and we share it with the world, we want to share that resonance with the world. And it isn't always for everyone. And that was it was such a hard thing to accept. I was like, but I want to change the world. I want everybody to know that, to know you, spirit. I want everyone to know love, to know unconditional love. I want everyone to know what it's like to experience miracles and to be fulfilled and uplifted and to see things outside of their eyes and to hear things outside of their ears and to know things outside of the construct of education or knowledge or what have you. I wanted that so bad, and I just couldn't understand. Well, if I have this such a strong desire to reach everyone in the world and change the world, and this is just, I just feel it so much because I just want people to know you. And then I would get but you're not for everyone. And I was so frustrated. I was so frustrated. And I realized it was because I didn't have faith that there were people that were out there that I was meant to interact with. I needed that balance of the warrior, but also the peacekeeper, of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and to understand that while I am not necessarily for everyone out in the world, spirit moves through so many things, people, places, everything. It's literally everything. It's so utterly tangible in this world if we choose to engage in it. And spirit never stops trying, never shies away from that one person left alone, left abandoned never stops reaching out, never stops working to bring things into their awareness that will help them understand that they are not alone. I was not alone. You are not alone. I've been going through this phase for a couple of years, about a year and a half, in which labels, definitions, I try to shed them as much as I can or take them down to their origin points as much as I can, because I want to understand where it started, how it has transformed, and how we can revitalize what was in order to simplify this world. Because we just keep fighting over so much in the world. I had this true breakthrough moment when I realized it is not me against the world, and I am not doing this on my own. And it's not my job to try to scream louder than everyone else in order for what I know to be true to be heard, to be believed, and for my truth to be other people's truths. There is no unity in that. There is no equality in that. The copious quantities of relief that comes when you realize that it's not all on your shoulders, it is not 100% your responsibility, this life becomes a lot simpler. I don't want to say easier, but simpler. Pile 3. Is it worth jumping into the melee because you have a truth that you know is worthy of being heard? Or is there more that your truth can become by allowing yourself to be called to trust and then to keep going? Because breakthrough moments happen, awareness happens. And when we are spiritually called and we see all of the ways that we want to change the world for the better, it can be so overwhelming. And then our motives get muddied up by the melee. Oh, I just heard advice. So let's get the advice on your current situation, because that point right there, your motives get muddied by the melee. Instead of jumping into it, instead of jumping in the middle of a mosh pit, stand on the outside and work your way in, reaching one person at a time. Slow and methodical. It's like Capricorn energy. So we've got 9 of fire. Don't give up. Protect that which you've created. Have courage and believe in yourself. This is why. This is why I felt that advice come in. Because one by one, if you continue to move through life, seeking to connect to those that you're meant to connect to at that point in time, what you don't always see, what none of us always see, is the ripple effect of the changes that we bring. If any of my messages have helped change you in any way, and then you have gone out into your life and you have been more confident in yourself, you have loved yourself more, you have understood the wounds and stopped blaming or shaming others or yourself, you've made changes, you have grown, you have worked on healing, you have, and you contribute a portion of that to some wisdom that you have found in one of my readings. The second you go out there and interact with the world, you're changing their lives too. The truer we are to ourselves, to our souls, the truer we are to the world. And the world feels that ripple effect. And so we might not always see the impact that we make in the world. I know I don't. I don't see the impact that I make on others. I hear from you guys about it. And there have been so many times that I have sat down and read one or many of the comments and cried. I'll screenshot it. I'll send it to my mom. I'll send it to my husband. I'll send it to my best friends and say, this is why I do what I do. This right here, because people are starting to heal. They're starting to believe in themselves. But I don't see it on a physical level. I do not see it. I have faith that it is happening, and I have faith in each and every one of you. So don't give up on what you feel called to. If you are struggling against an ideation, if you're struggling against some sort of mental construct, what is the best way that you can deconstruct that construct? That's why I love Origins of Words. I have the online etymology dictionary app on my phone, and I'm not affiliated or anything. This just simple, like this is literally one of the things that I do. I will struggle with a word. I'll know it in terms of how we use it, how we interact with it in the world, but it won't feel right to me. Something doesn't feel right. I can look it up in the dictionary, but even that. So I will go back to the origin of the word, and I trace back as far as I can, usually to Proto-Indo-Europe. I think it's Proto-Indo-European. Yeah. Or Paleo-Indo-European, however far back I can go. And I'll look at that, and I'll look at different words that are similar to that have that similar root, and just take the simplicity of that root and then apply it to the current definition and the way that it's used now, and see the dissonance in it in order to be able to transform it in my mind. And I don't always do that for other people, but I do it for myself, because in doing that, I find the strength to keep going. I find the faith in what I do and what I know. And then I come back here and I talk to you guys about these things in different ways, in the ways that I have learned it, in the ways in which it has shaped and shifted my perspective and my truths. And something within the messages here reach you. I go one by one through the crowd instead of diving into the mosh pit. Why? Because each and every one of you matters. Your spiritual calling in this life, whatever that means, and no one, not a reader, not a psychic, not an astrologer, not a therapist, no one knows the true nature of what you are spiritually called to, but you. Which means that no one gets to dictate how it goes for you. You do. You have that power within you, because within you is a spark of the divine creator. Therefore, you get to decide how it plays out, what it does, how you work with it. It doesn't have to be your profession. It doesn't have to be creative in the way that we define creativity, writing, painting, what have you. What does it mean to you? What do you feel so powerfully called to? Michael and Faith are a whole unit of two whole individuals, and they flow together and work together. And they both have very big roles in this world. I feel like I have a big role in this world. And I feel that way just because I'm a mom. I feel that way because I'm a wife. I feel that way because I'm psychic. I feel that way because I'm here with you guys. I feel like I have a big role in the world. And I don't need the world to tell me what my role is, because I know that I'm spiritually called. Pile 3, you're spiritually called. Do not give up. Let's find out what kind of dawning awareness. We have beauty and rigid. Where the rest of the world sees ugliness, you see beauty. Where the rest of the world gets hard and firm, you become soft and pliable. Where the rest of the world bends and caves, you stand firm and resolute. These are the awarenesses that I'm getting from these cards. It is this understanding that you can stand and look at the melee, you can look at the mosh pit, you can look at the crowds and the foray and all of the chaos. And they can all be doing the exact same thing and think that they're doing something different. And you're the one doing something different. Being different doesn't make you wrong, and it doesn't make them wrong. It means that you have a powerful place in the whole. What you see in the world matters. What you feel about things matters. What you know, what you are aware of, and the desire that you have to experience more of this life on a spiritual level, on a physical level, on an emotional level, that matters. That matters. Because the walls that are built around other people's hearts, they start falling apart bit by bit through your openness, through your love, through your everything. And as you go about your life and continue embracing the beauty of existence, the beauty of creation, the beauty of life, more and more what you're doing is you're breaking down those rigid barriers people have built between themselves and spirit. And it's a beautiful, noble thing. I want to get some additional insight here. We have Raziel with the rainbow, and it says enlightened, adaptable. This is exactly right. Soulful and connected. In shadow, it is skeptical, rigid. Oh my God. Wow. Materialistic and detached. This is exactly confirmation galore. Thank you so much, Spirit. Thank you, Michael and Faith. And then we have abundance. It says faith, optimism, excitement, and breakthrough. You guys, I swear I don't look at these ahead of time. In the shadow, there's doubt, pessimism, mundane, and misfortune right here. This is why you have this calling. This is why you're pulled to that. That's why the Nine of Fire, which is the wounded warrior card in the tarot, at least for me it is. I know a lot of people describe it that way. She's not a wounded warrior in this. She is strong, resilient, capable, powerful, and determined, dedicated. Have that breakthrough of what you contain within yourself. Have that awareness of living your life in an enlightened way. That adaptability is you seeing beauty where others see ugliness. Because you see where there can be growth. You see where there can be change. You see all of this world through an abundance lens. And that's a rare quality because most people that think about an abundance perspective think only in terms of wealth and money. This is different. You see all of it, the good and the bad, as being tools, as being guides for growth, messengers of healing, messengers of love, messengers of awareness. The faith that you have and the connection that you have to your faith and your spiritual calling, that is something that no one has the power to take from you. And that is a beautiful thing that you contain within your soul. And if you were doubting, if you were skeptical, if you got stuck in a rut of monotony and feeling like just everything was just the same all the time, realize that you are never the same. You are always growing. Your faith, who you are, your light, your aura, your essence, your energy, everything about that is so profoundly beautiful and profoundly unique that you, pile 3, you change the world every day. Every day. And the world is a better place because of you. We don't always have to fight a warrior's battle with swords and shields. Sometimes we fight it with love, acceptance, faith, optimism, and connecting from the soul. Pile 3, I want to be your friend. Thank you. Thank you for being in this world, and thank you for persevering, and thank you for being here, and thank you for existing. Just thank you. I want to take this time to say thank you to your guides and my guides and the Great Spirit for connecting the energies between me and the collective of Pile 3 so that I could bring these messages forth, so that we could connect soul to soul, heart to heart. Thank you. I also want to take this time to say thank you to Archangel Michael and Archangel Faith for your gentleness, your protection, your love, your truth, your clarity, your wisdom, and your guidance. Thank you so much. And thank you for everyone in the collective of Pile 3 for being who they are and for being on my channel as part of my community, because they're freaking awesome. Thank you. Okay, Pile 3, this is the message I have for you. I hope it resonated. If it did, and you guys would like to support my channel and my creative projects, that'd be awesome. Sorry, that's my husband's way of being like, yeah, I really like this. We joke around like that, but that would be really awesome. Some of the ways you can do that are by liking this video, commenting in the comment section below. You can subscribe to my channel. You can share this video. There are also links in my description box to donate using PayPal or Venmo. There's also a link down there in the description box for my Amazon author page where all of my published books are available. They are available in hardcover, paperback, Kindle, Kindle Unlimited. And yeah, go check those out. Any or all of these things are really great ways to support me and my creations. And I hope they reach you. All right, Pile 3, I love you guys so much. I really hope you can feel how much love I have for you. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and I will see you at my next reading. I love you all. Bye. Hello, Pile 4. If you chose the 4th Master Ishtar, as well as the Nauthiz rune, this is your message from the Masters. So Ishtar talks about inner learnings, about following the heart and allowing the truth to prevail. And Nauthiz is a rune that stands for need, but need and constraint, limitation, struggles and obstacles and challenges. So I'm going to go ahead and read your guys' channeled message first. And I have to say, your guys' channeled message was the longest one out of all the piles. Oh, Pile 4, this message has, similar to other ones in my readings, come through strong, quick, and through one of my own life lessons, one of the hardest I have gone through. Put a disclaimer in this. Even when I wrote it, I wanted this disclaimer in. The lesson I was asked to share is not indicative of your current situation, but it is meant to be utilized as a metaphor, please. Ishtar, a goddess connected to both love and war, combined with Nauthiz, the rune of constraints and limitations of what is needed in ourselves, is manifested in my own life in many ways, not all of which have felt fully resolved. The greatest of times came in the autumn of 2015 when I ended my first marriage. I had made a commitment to myself to see that marriage through until my children were grown and out of the house, or until my life ended, whichever one came first. Spirit had a different path for me, and it led me here. At the time, it felt as though I was losing everything and everyone. My life no longer held the appearance of love being existent, and I felt consumed by a war of hurt, blame, guilt, shame, and betrayal. I did not realize at that time how I had shunned the need for unconditional love to exist in my life, until every direction I turned, I found the limitation of war within myself. I focused on everything outside of myself, and in the moments I was alone and the silence was too great, I drowned it all in alcohol. It's hard to believe I had actually been prepared to find my way out and to become who I am today. A version of my truest self still yet being formed. Without the limitations outside of myself, I would not have found my way within. As cliche and hopeful as that may sound, I learned that love and war are often two things that are needed for the discovery of truth from within. I look back and so many choices made no sense to me. Yet, over the years, I have witnessed many answers of why through circumstances that needed to unfold over time. Truth is not always as quick as a lightning strike to become a part of our awareness. The needed limitations, past and present, have become great teachers in my life. The question that I was asked to pose to you today, though, are what have you learned in your own moments of experiencing limits, constraints, war, and love? Can you see how these challenges have brought you back to you? I share a lot about my life on this channel. I share a lot about myself. The way that I operate, the way that I navigate through life is I want to be as authentic as I know how to be at any given point in time. And that allows for me to continually, consistently change. My authenticity of self changes as I change, as I grow. I used to share way more, and then I realized that there were always going to be the people that would take the way more and use it as a weapon. And I used to feel so beat down by that. I felt like in order to follow my heart, I had to give up everything that actually meant something to me. It wasn't until I was ready to throw in the towel for spirituality entirely, for my calling, my path, my gifts entirely, and walk away, because it was so much of a struggle, because I was facing so many challenges and so many pains, because I was not letting myself look at the things that I was doing to myself, the needs that I had within myself, and how to verbalize them, how to express them, and how to navigate through them, not just in my interpersonal connections or here on this channel, but within myself. There will always be people who want to harm those that are different because they are afraid. Their actions used to dictate how I operated. They used to dictate who I was and what I did and how I interacted with others, until I stopped allowing that to be. I started asking myself, if the world were ending and everyone was fighting each other, would I still be standing here preaching about unconditional love, individuation, uniqueness, sharing, connection, spirit? Would I still be doing that if this whole world was engulfed in flames and torment and misery? And I would, even if I was the only one doing it, knowing that that would make me a target, knowing that the people who didn't understand that they contained this within themselves and they had the ability to experience all the same things themselves in their own way, to feel what I feel when I sit here and I connect with spirit. Even if it made me a target, I would still do it. And it is no longer out of a feeling of needing to martyr myself for a purpose or for a belief or for a decision or a commitment that I made. It's because it's who I am. It can be incredibly hard in this day and age, in this world that we live in, to be oneself. A friend of mine yesterday, she said, I was talking to her about how I started therapy so I could start navigating through my own emotions, so I could start understanding myself, and how I had to really disconnect a lot from everyone else in my life. And she said, I've been trying to tell you this for years. Your empath gift is so amazing, but you lose yourself in other people's emotions and thoughts and feelings so completely. She said, I'm so proud of you because you need to learn how to navigate yourself. And I thought I knew. And every time I've ever said, like, I know my truth, I know who I am, I do in that moment. Having someone else's perspective shine a light on something that is your greatest gift and your greatest weakness simultaneously, it's not always easy, but we don't get to dictate certain things that we need to hear. It's a painful truth. It is a painful truth to acknowledge that sometimes we have to hear the hard stuff. Sometimes we have to hear the challenges. Why? Because those challenges that we hear are meant to bring us back to us. They're meant to bring us back to ourselves. And when I say things like that, I think about a viewer, a subscriber that I had on this channel. I don't know if that person is still on this channel or not. But I think about how there were questions about, how do you do this? And how do you do that? And how does this work? And a comment was made about spiritual leaders, teachers, channelers, gatekeeping, healing, and going within and connecting to spirit. And I totally understood exactly what that felt like, because I used to think that. I spent about 3 months straight Googling how to go within. Literally, guys, I'm not joking. I literally was Googling, how do you go within? But everything that I came to, it was so vague. And that is because the journey within, there is no clear-cut path in how to do that. And that truth broke me. It broke me about as bad as ending my first marriage and watching my entire life. I had built that life from the ground up over the past 8 years, or over the course of 8 years. I had built everything. It was an illusion, but I still built it and I still maintained it as much as I possibly could. And I watched it crash and burn. And I couldn't blame anybody but myself, because I'm the one that asked for the divorce. I wasn't perfect. And in acknowledging my imperfections, my errors, the way that I hurt someone else, and the way that I was operating, I was able to see that I was not myself during that time. And then came the question of, who am I? I still can't answer that for myself. Humanity as a whole does not like limitations. We don't like constraints. We don't like being told what to do and what not to do. We don't like that. Even if you're submissive by nature, you don't like it, because the implication of it is that you don't know. And then I think about the Nothi's rune and how it carries so much of Saturn energy. And it wasn't until I started working directly with the planets that I really started respecting Saturn and the limitations that Saturn poses in our lives. Because without them, I wouldn't know my ability to overcome. Without them, I probably would still be drinking. Without them, I would still be drinking. Without them, I would not be here. But I don't like them. They're not comfortable. They're not enjoyable. They're not fun. So when we are coming to a point in our journey where we're like, oh crap, it's obstacle city, what do we do? Change. It's a constant in life, changes. So we change. The question is, how do we change? And for that, I want to get the advice here. We have the Four of Earth. Being too frivolous or too cautious with money, good business decisions, or giving to those less fortunate. As practical as the Four of Earth or the Four of Pentacles is, and especially in the brief explanation down here, I'm going to go a little bit outside of this, or a lot outside of this. To me, the Four of Earth is about our foundation. It's about our roots. It's about what we build ourselves upon. This message came through to me last night as I was falling asleep, and it is just now coming back into my conscious awareness. So awesome. Thank you, Pile 4, for that. But the Leaning Tower of Pisa, I'm going to use this as an example. The Leaning Tower of Pisa, and I don't know the science behind it, but the foundation was not faulty, but the ground it was built upon was faulty. And that's the key here. So there's this architectural story. I want to say it's not really true, but it's about libraries and how someone built this grand library, but he forgot to account for the weight of the books when he built the library. So over time, the library kept sinking further and further into the ground because the architect did not account for the weight of the books. So if we build something and we don't account for what we are going to be putting within this structure that we are building, so we have the Four of Earth, it's building yourself. This is your heart, essentially. This is how we are building our truth. We're building our truth. We're not recognizing the limitations of the ground outside of us when we're building our foundations. There are times where we are building a foundation of ourselves that is a true foundation. It is strong. It is exactly as it's meant to be. It's a true foundation. So you build a foundation of yourself in honesty, in self-love, in spiritual truth, in following your heart, in living authentically. It's a solid foundation to build your life upon. But if you're building that life in an inhospitable environment, it's the same as not accounting for the weight of the books, because the more that you build upon that truth, the more you recognize that you are surrounded in an area that cannot support you. And that is a hard thing, because it's kind of like being a content creator. You're a content creator, say you do TikToks, and suddenly you realize that TikToks, the platform itself is not equipped. It's not a hospitable environment for you, for your growth, for your expansion. So then you get faced with, what do I do? And this is where this being too frivolous or too cautious comes in. And I want to take money out of this because this is a very metaphorical energy, which is why that disclaimer came through. Use all of this as a metaphor. So being too frivolous or too cautious. So your limitation is you really don't have a lot of room to move around in it. And so when you need to make the decision of what to do you scrap everything and rebuild? Or do you transfer? And that is a question that nobody else can answer but you, because it depends on what you desire and what you know and what your heart is pulling you towards. And oftentimes when our heart pulls us towards something, there is no rationality to it at all. There's no reason, there's no logic. Those things don't exist in the realm of following the heart. The heart tells us what we need to know. The heart tells us what is true for us. The heart tells us what our path is. It tells us what we need on a soul deep level. And the mind is going to play tricks on you consistently. It's going to go, that doesn't make any sense. So I went through, one of the things that I mentioned was there were a lot of choices that I was like, well, why did I do that? Okay. I went through this time frame in which I worked for Aflac as an insurance salesperson. And man, I hit the ground running with that. I made all of my milestones. I got all the awards, all of it. Excelled. Once I hit that final award, it was called the Fireball Award. I was done. I was done. What predated hitting that award was being able to sell my mom an insurance policy, a supplementary cancer policy. It really didn't make a whole lot of logical sense, but I kept pushing her. I said, Mom, you need this. You need this policy. Okay. I left Aflac a little under a year after being with them. My health got worse. Things just happened. And so I kept wondering, why all that time? Why all that energy? Why all of that could have been a really good career for me? Why all of that? Just a waste. And then in, I believe it was 2020, my mom's company, she works for a school. They were having issues with their Aflac agent because he was no longer active as an agent, but he was still collecting on his sales, because that's how the company works. So he was doing his own thing and not tending to his policyholders and not tending to the claims and all of that. So they brought in a different company. I believe it was Colonial. She did all of this. I mean, her and I talked a lot about it, and she made that final decision. But when Colonial came in, she dropped Aflac and she took out a Colonial policy, and she took out a Colonial cancer policy. I wasn't pushing for it at that point, but that conversation she and I had about the benefits of the policy itself in any given situation that you can't prepare for was what she held on to. My mom was diagnosed with cancer this year, breast cancer, stage 1. And she called me up and she said, I cannot thank you enough for pushing me to get that policy. She said, I know I changed it, but I cannot thank you enough, because all of my care, I am being compensated for. I am receiving a return on. So my insurance will cover it, but I have all of my travel expenses paid. And she has to go 3 hours away in order to receive her treatments that last like 10 minutes. And she has to do it 5 days a week. So I didn't understand at that time that what I was doing was literally following my heart. Why? Because I was following my heart to make sure that somebody that I loved was protected in a situation that a part of me knew was coming, but my conscious awareness had no idea. I've had so many of those moments, and I am so, so grateful for them. But if I was too frivolous with it, I would have told her, well, what's the likelihood you're going to get cancer? You might as well just cancel it and save yourself some money. Or I would have been too cautious and been like, you cannot cancel your Aflac policy. I'll file your claims for you. I'll do this. I'll do that. And then I would have self-sacrificed when it's no longer my place in society, in that workforce, or, for me to dictate her life. We don't always know why we make decisions until all of the events transpire. And then we are like, oh, okay, that's why. That's why. That's why when I say that no one can teach you how to go within, no one can teach you how to find these connections. We can give you our advice, we can give you our techniques, but it's always going to be up to you to learn how to adapt that into what is a hospitable environment for you, because my environment is not necessarily the most hospitable for somebody else. It's about learning that the foundation of who you are, the truest essence of who you are, that foundation is strong, it's firm, it's true. And so it's not always because you built on something faulty. It's because you built somewhere that was not equipped for your greatness. Wow. Okay. I want to see what dawning awareness is coming in. We have denial. I love it. And forbidden. Seriously. Right here. When we go through times of denial, forbidden, constraint, restrictions, right here, it's not because we're bad. It's not because we're being punished. It's because we need to learn something internally. This is a lesson that we go through over and over and over and over and over again until we realize I've had it within me all along. I've really had it within me all along. But I'm still so grateful for every frustration and misstep and constraint every time I have tried to work with somebody and it hasn't flowed how I thought it would. I'm still grateful for those because they have helped me realize different parts of myself along that journey. So when we think of things like what is meant for you will never pass you by, or when we think of things like rejection and is divine protection and divine intervention, when we think about those things, the people who use those as a truth, such as myself, know that they are true. It will never, in my opinion, will never negate the struggle. But it is true. Because if you run head first into an area because you think, well, this failed, now I'm going to dive into this new thing. Are you honoring all that you have already done by just giving up because you don't see the clear path forward yet? And if you feel called out, please know that I'm not doing this to make anyone feel guilt or shame or anything like that. These are questions I literally ask myself, and then I force my hand to move on the paper and to put out all the different thoughts that I have, the ways that I feel, the things that I think, to put it all down so that I can actually see it for myself. I ask myself these questions myself in my journal. I do this all the time. This is my method to going within, asking those really tough questions, asking myself things like, do I lose myself in helping other people because it's easier to help them than it is to help myself? And making sure that I take the time to sit with that and to let myself find the truth within that of what the motivation is, so that I know that I'm moving from a pure motivation. So I know that I have a clear vision because I want to honor that authenticity. Ishtar, Nothies, they're saying right here and right now that you have the ability to honor your own clear vision because it's following the heart. And following the heart, again, is not rational or logical. So let's take a look at the additional insight we have for you. Blessing in disguise. Trust, revelation, significance, surprise. And the reverse of that is angst, unaware, significance, and expectation. I love that significance is there both in both light and shadow, because a blessing in disguise is always going to be significant. My whole entire 2023 year has been blessings in disguise. one thing that I learned that I want to share with you, I learned this through doing that journaling thing that I talk about, where I ask myself the hard questions and I make myself answer the hard answers. If I am continually going through situations that are blessings in disguise, and they're disguised as things that are really incredibly excruciatingly painful, but they're still blessings that are contained within them, then the perception that I'm being punished is so inaccurate, because it's still a blessing, which means I'm still worthy of receiving blessings, and I am still blessed, and I'm still loved by the divine, and therefore I'm still following my heart, even when it hurts, even when it's hard, even when there are constraints, limitations, even when there are needs that outweigh what I desire. I'm still being blessed, so it still holds great significance. And then we have self-employment, commitment, resourceful, confident, rewarding, and then tentative, limited, timid, and drudgery. I freaking love this, because what were we talking? We were talking about content creation. And with the Four of Earth, it's good business decisions. So now, yes, this is about realizing that sometimes some things get lost, get broken, get whatever, because it's a blessing in disguise, leading us on a different path. We don't always rationalize self-employment. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing. Other times it's, where am I going? What am I doing? How do I do this? And we have a lot to learn on that journey. But when you realize that you have a multitude of resources within yourself that you have grown over the years of your entire life, that's when you start realizing that you can move forward in confidence. So every time that it has felt like you have built in an inhospitable environment, and now it's time to shift somewhere else because it's time to expand, you can either lament what is being lost or recognize the significance of how much you have gained in the building process itself, and realize that you're just shifting to solid ground instead of quicksand. And it is a blessing and meant to be a reward. So I know that going through times where it feels like everything is falling apart, you're getting shut out, shunned out, everything is forbidden, you can't go this way, you can't go that way. I get how painful that is, how challenging it is. I do. But I also can feel the energy of Ishtar sitting here and just shining this light, this golden light out. And it's like all of you are surrounded by this golden light, but you can't see it yet because you have to learn how to really see yourself from the inside out. Pile 4, I love you guys. I love you guys. Lately, pile 4s have been like preach and taking me to church and let's face our inner demons together kind of energies. And in my opinion, in my spiritual perspective, that means that you guys are in the fires of the Phoenix transformation, which is one of the hardest spiritual transformations to go through. I know the butterfly is really pretty and, the butterfly turns to goo, but the butterfly does not literally walk into the flames and feel itself crumbling to ash to be reborn and have to redo everything all over again as a baby bird. It gets to be grown when it breaks out of the cocoon. Phoenix transformation is a much harder one, and it is one that I profoundly respect. Thank you for being here with me during yours. All right, pile 4, this is the message I have for you from the Master Ishtar. I love you guys so much. I want to say thank you so much to your guides, to my guides, to the Great Spirit for facilitating the connections between my energy and the collective of pile 4. And thank you so much to the beautiful goddess Ishtar for all of her love, her wisdom, her awareness, her clarity, her support, and her utmost faith in the collective of pile 4. Thank you so much. Pile 4, if this resonated and you guys would like to support my channel or my creative projects, that would be awesome. For some reason, I just heard that would be dope. Some of the ways you can do that are by liking this video, commenting in the comment section below. You can subscribe to my channel, share this video. There are also links in the description box if you want to check those out. There are links to donate, PayPal and Venmo. There's also a link to my Amazon author page where you will find all of my books that I have published thus far. They are available in hardcover, paperback, Kindle, and Kindle Unlimited. All of them can be found directly from that author page. And yeah, so any and all of these are really great ways to support me, my creative projects, all of that. And I really appreciate them. And I appreciate you. I'm going to leave you guys here. I want to say thank you again so much. I love you guys so much from my heart to yours. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you at my next reading. Bye. Hello, Pile 5. If you chose the 5th Master, Guru Ramdas, as well as the Perth or the Initiation Rune, this is your message from the Masters. So Guru Ramdas talks about a miraculous moment. And the card says, harmony surrounds you and expect miracles. So I have a channeled message for you guys, and then we'll go ahead and get into more of this message. It says, Pile 5, children oftentimes say exactly what we need to hear when we need to hear it. The context of the comment escapes me, but that only speaks to the resonance without the necessity of contextual structure. My daughter Izzy said to me recently, miracles exist. They happen. You already know that. So why wouldn't another one happen? This rang through my mind and vibrated through the energy in this pile almost immediately. Miracles exist. They happen. We go through changes and challenges, struggles, losses, growth, healing. Rinse and repeat. Around and around we go in life, and then experience miracles. Then the further that we go from the miracles initiation into our life, the more struggles we come to, we can get overwhelmed with life and lose sight of the miracles. Then we can begin to believe they won't come back into our lives. Spoiler alert. Miracles are not a one and done kind of thing unless we choose to believe them to be. Your body, your life, the beating of your heart, the breath in your lungs, these are every moment, every second of your life continually occurring miracles. Whether you believe in the origins of creationism or the evolutionary perspectives, both are miracles. Jesus' life was a testament to miracles being everywhere, every day. A change in your life, in your mindset, in your perspective is open and coming to you. It is a pulling to open your mind to your heart and unifying these to witness the miracles of your entire existence. I can feel a sense of expansion, of possibility, which feels more certain than hoping can contain. It's akin to divine truth within your energy. I can motivate, illuminate, and share with you all. And in the end, the question is whether you will allow these once secret parts of your fullest self to expand into your life more fully. Will you initiate your whole self into the truth of miracles, and in miracles being your truth? Okay, pile 5. Number 1, I don't normally do 5 piles. I've kept it pretty consistent between 3 and 4 piles. I also want to make a note that I did just see 3:33 on the clock, which you're the first pile where I've had any kind of repeating numbers be very significant. But wow, I lost that entire thread. Okay, so we're gonna go back to miracles here. What is your definition of a miracle? To me, my kids are miracles. And I'm going to explain why I say that. It's not just because they say the darndest things, because kids, they really do. They say the darndest things, but oftentimes our kids are channeling higher sources and we don't even realize it. They just say exactly what it is that we need in that exact moment. But life hits us. Life hits us and we go around and around and around and we wonder, was that miracle a singular occurrence? I thought it very interesting. That's what I was, thank you, Spirit. Spirit's like, this is pile 5. I was like, oh yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't normally do 5 piles. 3 and 4. I think I did one where I had 6. Those were very short messages about Mercury retrograde. Pile 5. When I was preparing for this reading, I had just gotten the Divine Masters Oracle deck in the mail, and I didn't even open them. I didn't take the cellophane wrapper off or anything like that for about 2 days. I wanted to really wait until I felt like it was time. And when I started shuffling them, I was like, these are such beautiful cards. And then I heard messages from the masters. So I was shuffling and pile 1's card came out, and all the piles for all of this reading, the cards came out with their back up. So I didn't see any of the images. My first interaction with the energies were within the runes. I didn't flip them over until after I had allowed the runes to come out for each pile. But I already had pile 1 down. And then a stack of 4 cards came out. And normally in that situation, I would have put all 4 of those cards back, or I would have put pile 1 back and kept the 4 cards because they came out as a group. And so it felt natural for it to be a group. Neither one of those felt right. And I was like, really? Really? I've been sick for 2 weeks. We're going to do 5 piles. And I know how my readings have gone lately with them being half-hour long readings. It's like, okay, buckle up. I'm ready. Let's do this. The way that the energy flowed, the way that the message came out for your pile, it was to me a miracle. Because it takes a lot for me to sit down, to pull these messages, to channel this energy. But your message came through while there were other people awake, there were other people around. And normally I need it quiet, silent, stillness, solo kind of stuff for me to really tap fully. Your energy was in the midst of the chaos of my life, kids going to bed. My husband was coming in and out because he's on call this week for work. So, working late, coming home late. And after I was done, I was like, oh man, I'm ready to journal. I am ready to journal. And I sat up for another 2 hours journaling, page after page after page. Your energy worked a miracle in my own life. But again, I'm being brought back to, what does a miracle mean to you? When I say my kids are miracles, especially my 2 youngest, by the time I had my 2 youngest, when I was pregnant with them, I was undergoing high-risk pregnancies. Both of them were twin births. Both of them, I miscarried their twins early on. With Izzy, her twin sister died when I was in just shy of my 9th week. For Cooper, I was just shy of my 6th or 7th week of being pregnant. And because of my own internal genetic weirdness, we're going to go with weirdness, my body wanted to reject the pregnancies. I was in and out of the hospital a lot with my kids, to the point that when my daughter when we were getting ready for her to be born, I wasn't even into my 3rd trimester yet, but I had already been in and out of the hospital in preterm labor. At that time, we didn't know that I had Ehlers-Danlos. And so I had major, major complications as a side effect of my chimerism and Ehlers-Danlos. I had to do an advance directive prior to having her because my complications were so severe. And I made that choice of, if it comes down to a choice, save her. Save her life over mine. Please save her life over mine. I understand I can always create more kids, but I had carried her, felt her kick. I felt a connection to her. I knew her already, and I was willing to make that choice. And it was a very real choice. It was a very real situation. It was incredibly terrifying. She was born 3 weeks premature. Her APGAR scores were 10s. She was a miracle baby. She was a rainbow baby. She was a miracle. I was very young, but she was a miracle. Watching her grow up is miraculous. She is navigating a world I can't even fathom growing up in because my childhood has been so dramatically different. I should have died many times in my past, both at my own hand and because of severe medical illnesses and complications. I should have died multiple times. I should have died when I was 12 years old and I was with my cousins on the farm and we were driving a pickup at 12 years old, which crazy, but I mean, farm kids, that's a normal thing. When our pickup rolled 4 times, no seatbelts, none of us walked away with anything more than me having a broken elbow. That's it. That is it. 4 times, end over end. There are so many times I should have died that in my darkest moments, it's hard to hold on to the miracle that is life. But that's what keeps me going. I should be dead, but I'm not, because I have had so many miracles happen in my life, things I can't explain. Pile 5, this life is an adventure. This world that we live in, it's so chaotic, it's so confusing and frightening and frustrating. And yet it is an entire world of miracles. When this card says expect miracles, the first time I interacted with that notion, I thought it was ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous. Why would a person expect miracles? Plus, we tell people don't put any expectations out there, but we should expect miracles. Why? Because you're a living, breathing miracle. This life we live is a miracle. This world we exist within is a miracle. There are miracles every day. And the more that we relegate our perception of what a miracle is into some structured framework of it has to be this and this and this, we limit our own ability to see, to witness, and to fully experience all of the miracles going on in our lives. People are out there fighting every day over religion and belief systems, over perceptions and pronouns. They're out there. And I wonder how many of them realize that the invention of the internet and the ability to stand there and speak their truth is a miracle in and of itself. We call it science, we call it technology, we call it whatever we want to call it. It's a miracle. My grandparents never would be able to do what I am doing here on this channel. It is a miracle. My parents couldn't. My aunt sat me down one year at Christmas and she said, you have such a blessing in your life because you get to advocate for yourself and speak about these things and empower yourself from the traumas and the abuse and the things that you have suffered through. You get to empower yourself and help others through it as well. Your generation gets to do those things that my generation never could. It's a miracle. When we think about secret things that we hold within ourselves, these secret wants and desires and wishes and fears and hopes, when we expect miracles, it kind of paves the way for things to get easier. And easier is based off of our own perception. So Guru Ram Dass wants you to think about what miracles really mean to you. How do you see them? I use miracles and magic quite interchangeably because I feel they are both the same thing. It's a force outside of anything that our rationality or our science can describe, but we keep trying, and that's okay. It's okay because we want to describe and explain because we want other people to experience. Do you believe that miracles exist? Do you believe that you should expect them in your life? Do you believe that you are worthy of receiving them? And how do you define miracles, pile 5? So let's get some advice on your current situation. We have the King of Fire, motivational, idealistic, ambitious, charismatic. Focus, focus, focus. Communicate with vision and be a leader. Advice from someone creative. I love this. If you guys are looking at me as someone creative and the advice that I'm going to give you, let miracles be your motivation. Let yourself witness what it looks like out in the world to walk through life as a miracle. See the fact that you don't consciously think to yourself, I need to lift my foot up and put it forward. I need to lift the next foot up, and that's how I walk. We don't consciously think about that because it has become natural for us. When our perception is colored by the pains, the perspective we grow or adapt based off of that perception, in my opinion, it creates followers. Because when we feel pain, we're going to follow somebody else's lead. We don't want to lead because we're already in pain. If we lead and we fail, dear Lord, help us all. But you're the one that's leading your life. You're the one leading your life. Everything that you want wants you. Everything that you desire desires you. Everything that you dream of, you can only dream of because it's something that's written within your heart and your soul. And we say these things, and I lump myself in with spiritual teachers because I say these things a lot. And I still personally struggle with them. I still personally struggle to think that, well, I want to be a best-selling author. Does that want me to? That's a deep desire. I want the words that I speak and the words that I write to impact somebody's life, to change somebody's life, to give them hope, to give them a sense of magic and wonder and awe, the way that books give to me, the way that other tarot readers have given to me, the way that other people have given to me. I want to give that back to other people. A very pay it forward kind of way. I'm always very mindseted into pay it forward kind of stuff. What do you want? What do you desire? What is it that pulls you? And do you believe in those things? And those things that I listed that are desires of my heart, of my soul, of my life, for my life, no matter how much I try to rid myself of it, no matter how hard it's been, no matter how painful it's been, no matter how much I have had to be like, oh, I hate marketing, but I'm still going to market. I still struggle with that because I'm human. It makes me human. It makes you human to understand that there are struggles. There are pieces that you hold within yourself that you are afraid to share with the world because it might desecrate the sacredness of what you contain within you, because the world doesn't always understand each and every one of us. That's okay, Pile 5. That is okay. Guru Ram Dass is here and wants to ask you whether you can see that those beliefs and desires that you hold, those can be your expected miracles. I just heard, meet me at the table. Meet me at the table. When you're being advised to step into the King of Fire, that's an entrepreneurial, that is a self-starter. That is somebody who understands that ambitions are not a negative thing, but they don't mean that you have to place them within a construct outside of yourself. This energy right here is for you to realize that you can motivate yourself. You should motivate yourself. And that when you motivate yourself, everything that you create from that point forward is a miracle of self. It is a miracle of self. You are a miracle. Pile 5. So I want to see what kind of dawning awareness we have. We have conclusion and summon. Aha! Old chapters, old storylines. That's what Perth is talking about here. Ram Dass wants you to expect miracles and to realize that harmony comes from within, and therefore it surrounds you when you feel it within yourself. When you expect miracles, the initiation that happens is not a test. It's not a trial. It's not a hardship. It is this initiation into the next book. Not even the next chapter, the next book. This literally says chapter 1, the end. This is a curious idea. When you are working on self-growth and self-healing, and a negative mindset comes up that you have held, say, okay, this is my chapter 1 mindset. Chapter 1, everything sucks. The end. I've heard phrases like that out in the world as though that makes it definitive, but it doesn't. Do you know what that does? It ends it. The end. Everything sucks. The end. Okay, now we have ended that whole everything sucks mentality. Now it's time to summon our inner magic. Now it's time to pull from within and expect those miracles because you're creating them. I've walked this line. I have lived this life. I've experienced this cycle. I've held this mindset, and now it is the end of it. So now you get to decide to summon from within yourself, to pull all the magic from within yourself and say, this is me. This is what I decide. I am going to focus, clear, have a clear vision. I'm going to take that next step forward. I'm not going to think about the step because it's natural. I'm just going to take it. What step is that? I'm going to step into initiating miracles as my everyday existence. Miracles are my everyday reality. Don't put an end on that. Don't put an end on that. Say, miracles are my everyday reality. Dot, dot, dot. Put it in ellipses. Because now you can add to that. Miracles are my everyday reality, and I experience magic when I walk out my door. Miracles are my everyday reality, and everything that I desire desires me. Miracles are my everyday reality, and my heart is full. My life is full. I am full of joy. Miracles are my everyday reality. Dot, dot, dot. And now you're writing a new story. You're writing an entirely new book, not a new chapter. You have ended that. Initiation in concept within the spiritual community is a challenge. It can be a challenge. I've gone through many initiations in my life. Not all of them are easy. But when you choose a self-initiation to awaken to miracles existing in your everyday life, now you get to choose magic. And if other people out in the world want to tell you that you're crazy for expecting that, say, okay, your crazy is my miracle. And go about your life. Be that leader for yourself. Be that true blue leader for yourself. Miracles are a part of my everyday life. ... And fill in all of the miraculous things that your life can, will, and is. Let's get some additional insight. Everything is okay. Reassurance, support, guidance, overseen. In the reverse, this signifies disbelief alone, unanswered, and frustrated. And again, I told you guys I didn't have any other piles that had repeating numbers. We now have 333 and 444. 333 are Ascended Masters, 444 are the Archangels. So you have a lot of divine support. Oh, and this is card number 22, which is the Master Builder number. It is the Master Architect. That is above and beyond the leader number or the Master of Leadership. Now you are the Master Builder, the Master Architect. You are now taking things down to the base foundation and you're going, I'm going to build this and this and this, and this is how it's going to be. So everything is okay. Pile 5. Why? Because miracles exist in your everyday life and you expect miracles in your everyday life. Why? Because miracles make everything okay. Miracles are your reassurance that you're on the right path. They are your guidance. You have more around you, more synchronicities, more support, more love, more clarity than I don't even have a finishing statement. Because anything that I say feels like a qualification that might diminish anything else. You have so much around you. And all I keep hearing is you are a miracle. You are the miracle. You are the miracle. Guardian angels, protection, clarity again, spirituality and wisdom. Reversed is vulnerable, cluttered, shadow, and confusion. Like I said, this world is very confusing. And I love how similar the colors are on these. When things feel like they're too much, when things feel like it's all chaos, when you are navigating through your shadow, remember that even the ability to navigate through your shadow, it's a miracle. Everything in your life has led you to this point. That statement's going to be true tomorrow and the next day and the next day. So when you experience a miracle, everything in my life led me to this miracle. And tomorrow, everything in my life is going to lead me to the next miracle. And instead of feeling like you're following a breadcrumb trail of disappointment, loss, and sadness, go on a scavenger hunt of miracles. Pile 5, you have profound energy. And I really feel like this message was just to pep you up. I sincerely hope that I delivered adequately. At least. This is the message that I have for you from the Masters, Pile 5. I do want to take this time to say thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you to your guides. Thank you to my guides in the Great Spirit for facilitating the connections between our energies, for helping these messages to flow through and to reach all of those in the collective of Pile 5. Thank you also to Guru Ramdas, who is here with us to bring forth the miracles and the amazing, amazing moments of this reading and just of community. Thank you so much. Pile 5, if this reading resonated and you guys are looking to support my channel, thank you. Awesome. Yes, please. I would truly appreciate it. Some of the ways you can do that are by liking the video, commenting in the comment section below. You can subscribe to my channel, share this video on social media or with a friend or family. You can also go to my description box. There are 2 links for Venmo and PayPal for doing donations. Those are just direct donations. Or there is, I'll go with and. And there is also a link in the description box to my Amazon author page where you can find all of the books that I have published to date. They are available in hardcover, paperback, Kindle, Kindle Unlimited, just depending on the book. And they can all be found from that author page. So these are all really amazing ways for you guys to support my channel, support my creative projects, and support me. And yeah, that's about it. All right, pile 5. I am going to leave you here. I love you all so, so much. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you at my next reading. Bye.